this video, I give you an overview of soul's journey from the spiritual world to the earth. This is a part 2 of my video, I Am Jesus. In the spiritual world, each one of us exists as a spirit, the pure light of God. Each spirit is unique and special in its own way. When a spirit decides to come to earth, the spirit is formatted into a spirit body, or so-called soul. This soul is then further divided into two souls. The historical concept of Eve being made of Adam's rib is the example of this division. Before Eve was created, Adam was one single soul, and when Eve was created, Adam is no longer Adam, but now both Adam and Eve. They together make Adam, the original soul. As the soul division takes place, all of the soul's virtues and energies are equally divided into two souls. The very same way a cell division that takes place in mitosis cell division. These two souls are independent souls. Nonetheless, it is the one original soul. The spirit of the soul doesn't have any sex. Neither it is a male nor it is a female. But when the souls incarnate on earth, either of these souls chooses to dominantly express either the masculine or the feminine energy while repressing the other energy in the physical body. For example, a soul that wishes to express its male energy dominantly, that soul would choose a male body for the complete experience of the masculine energy. But the masculine energy can also be dominantly expressed in a female physical body for the contrasting experience of masculine energy. There is no limit or restriction to the way a soul can choose to experience these energies. To experience the earthly journey, normally one of the two divided souls incarnates on earth, while the other soul stays in the spiritual world, guiding its counterpart with its earthly journey. When Jesus incarnated on earth 2,000 years ago, he came to earth to carry out a mission. For the purpose of this mission, both of Jesus' soul incarnated on earth simultaneously, not born together, but few years apart in different geographical area to different parents. The spirit of Jesus, or these two souls, incarnated on earth in two different physical bodies, one being Yeshua and other being Mary Magdalene. Not his mother Mary, but Mary Magdalene from the Magdalene region. Yeshua, although was born as a human, his spiritual identity was completely unveiled to him from the very moment of his birth. Normally, when a soul incarnates on earth, all of his or her spiritual identity is hidden by the veil of forgetfulness, and this is done so that the human experience is possible. As I mentioned earlier, in the spiritual world, we each exist as a spirit or the light of God. That means each and every spirit is a part of the whole God's consciousness, yet unique and individual consciousness governed by the same principles of our Supreme God. Thereby, each spirit is also God. When Jesus was on earth in the soul form as Yeshua, this spiritual identity as God was unveiled to him, which means a part of God was on earth as God, not the Supreme God. Nonetheless, he is still a God. Yeshua was consciously aware that he is a God in a human form, the pure angel on earth, and this conscious awareness allowed him to give life to the dead, to heal the diseased, and all the other miracles he performed on earth. Now, it is very important that you see the truth of who you are. We each exist in the spiritual world as a spirit of God. The same spirit incarnates on earth as a soul, and in this human experience, the identity of us being God is hidden from us. That does not mean that we are not God, but it means that we forgot that we are God. Therefore, you must understand that there is no difference between you and Jesus. And the only difference is that Jesus knew he was God and you don't know, or you forgot that you are God. The word religion comes from a Latin word called religare, meaning to bind. All religious leaders came to earth to help us to see the truth of who we are, which is God. They brought guidelines so that if followed correctly, we can remember our virtues as gods. To bind with God, that is what religion is all about. Remember, your soul that wears a human body, it is the spirit in a smaller form. When Yeshua and Mary Magdalene came to earth, Yeshua came down on earth with all of his virtues of God open to him, while the other part of Jesus, Mary Magdalene, had her God virtues hidden from her. Yet she was no less of a God than Yeshua. At one point, Mary Magdalene had her spiritual awakening, and she too became aware that she is God. Her spiritual awakening, many referred to it as Yeshua casting demons out of her. What Yeshua really did is that he illuminated her in the knowledge of her spiritual truth, and she willingly surrendered to her truth and became aware of her spiritual wisdom. When it was known that Yeshua would be crucified, Yeshua wanted Mary Magdalene to carry out his work, since they were one soul. Since Mary was a woman, she wasn't allowed to do the religious work in a male-dominated religious field. On earth, we make all these divisions between sexes and decide to elevate men and oppressing women. In truth, sex plays no role in our expression of our spiritual wisdom. We are all equally magnificent if we only choose to believe in ourselves and elevate us to our greatness. The 7 so-called demons that were casted out of Mary Magdalene are actually the 7 chakras, or wheel of energy in our body that becomes dormant as we experience human life under the restrictions of man-made rules, beliefs, and conditions. When we no longer willing to accept the external truth of others and focus within, then the God energy, also known as the Christ energy, can flow freely through us, through these chakras, and we can become one with our spirit, or the God. When you have unveiled your spiritual identity, then you become aware of your truth being a God, that you are a part of the supreme consciousness of God, and at that point your spirit from the spiritual world can become one with you in your human body or in your human form. The soul is the bridge that connects us between this world and the spiritual world. The idea can be further clarified by an example of our modern technology known as Wi-Fi. In Wi-Fi system, the connectivity takes place without the need of a wire. When 2 devices are compatible, then the network communication can be established through wireless fidelity. Note that the word fidelity, which means loyalty or conjugal faithfulness. Our connection with our spirit is the conjugal faithfulness, our loyalty to our Lord, to the one we belong.